What's shaking? Hey, we're back. Today, we're going all in. There's been moments across everything that I've been in business to where it's like you need to shift the plans, right? You need to shift your offerings. You need to bring something new to markets. And I'm going to tell you this, if you're not bringing something new to market at least 2 times a year in whatever business you have, you're going to fail miserably because you're going to get stale, you're going to get old. Things transition that fast. This is why companies always bring something new, right? Look at the iPhone. Like I just got the brand new, on launch day, I got the brand new iPhone 14 Pro Max. And you take a look at that thing and it's like, is it really that much different? You know, the biggest reason, the driver for me is that it's purple. Right. And that's because it's my brand color. It's purple. I'm like, oh, I got to get this thing because it's purple. But if you look at the technical side of this thing, it's like an extra hour of battery life. It's, the biggest thing, it's like it has this dynamic island on it, which is at the top. It's where the notch is for the camera. And that thing, it's really cool how they did this with software, how it almost looks like it makes it expand and contract and all this stuff. It really is, and it has been for many years, right? Since Steve Jobs died, the iterations of the iPhone have really been just kind of that, just an evolution, not a revolution. When the iPhone dropped on the market, and then for the next several years, this thing just became like brand new stuff and really exciting stuff every single year. Every year was a revolution. It was like completely remade every single year from the iPhone. And now it's more evolutionary, like very incremental upgrades. Why does Apple do this? Apple does this because it's a way to continuously generate more money for the company. So I'm going to speak to you today. And they also provide good things for their client base, right? They can include the newest modems, right? Because this was really one of the driving factors, because right now I'm using AT&T, and AT&T has this new spectrum for 5G, and the iPhone 14 is the only one that can access it. Right? Is it incremental? Yeah, but it's a major upgrade, and that's actually a benefit to me. So because I'm on AT&T, I could have probably lived without the purple. I could have definitely lived without that dynamic island, even though it looks really cool. However, the benefit for me was clearly presented that I'll be able to access the fastest network that AT&T has to offer because I have an iPhone 14. Now, if you look at previous years, there wasn't much of like that big technical, real big benefit upgrade on any of the stuff that they have, because it's just evolutionary, not revolutionary. Now, every year in any of my businesses, I've always been launching something new, something else to upsell our clients. And we take a look at it going back across, and I'm not one that believes in price increases just for the sake of price increases. I've done trainings on this. I've even done a podcast on this, on don't just raise your prices just because of inflation. You always have to bring more value, or at least more perceived value. But the way to continuously grow your business is to have these things, is to have these evolutionary upgrades that will be just slightly different. But then take a look at what Apple does as an example, right? They start to make the old stuff look really busted, rusty, horrible. It's like, oh my God, how could you ever own that iPhone 13 when we've got the iPhone 14 now, right? And they'll even drop the price on the old thing for people that want to buy it new just to make it look like it's less value. There's such brilliant psychology behind this, in that they bring out the new thing and it's shiny and it's got all these new phrases like a dynamic island. Come on now. That's like one of the dumbest names for a feature ever, right? But everybody's like, oh my gosh, that's amazing. And you know what? It looks cool. It really does. But then they make that the premium price, and they're like, you can still get the crap that's over here. It's not really going to do all the stuff that you want to, like with the iPhone SE. The iPhone SE does not access the fastest 5G. So they're saying it's like, okay, it's cheap, but it really is cheap. It's not going to give you everything. And then they have this middle tier of like next to nothingness, right? Because it's usually like the previous year's phone. Now, take a look at this, right? There's several models that are out. There's the iPhone SE, which is the low end. but then they always keep something else around. It's like I think they're still selling the iPhone 12. I can't remember, but it's some other phone that you pay a couple $100 more, but now you're just that much closer to the high end. And you're like, well, if I'm going to spend that much, I should just go to that top end too. So they position this other thing as like a budget phone, as like a cheap phone. And then they have this middle tier that the only reason, this is marketing genius, okay? The only reason why that middle tier exists, because it really doesn't matter. No joke, it really doesn't matter. It's there for one specific reason, and that's to push you to the higher tier, to spend more money. And if you want to be successful in business, if you want to understand packaging and pricing and value perspectives and how to do these things with your clients, take a clue from Apple. It's okay to have this thing. And you know what? In my world, we were just recently talking with a company that came underneath the Reach Out umbrella. And Reach Out has this Reach Out One program, which literally includes everything that we do, right? It's led by cybersecurity. It has all 34 of our cybersecurity layers, which is the top amount in the industry, by the way. We provide just coverage from every area that hackers can get in. But then there's also the basic IT management. And it's like, oh yeah, we do that too, right? We'll be there when everything hits the fan, when everything goes crazy, no problem. Then we also give you the computers because we want you to be on the best stuff that'll be the most secure, the most predictable, and the most reliable. It's everything that's in there. So when a new company comes underneath, when a company comes underneath the Reach Out umbrella, there's all these clients that are left on this stuff that doesn't have everything that Reach Out has to offer now. And this was the conversation that I had a little bit ago, because it's like, what do we call this? And the conversation's like, could we just like change the invoices to say that it's not really Reach Out, the Reach Out One plan, but it's like the legacy, like the shit plan? It was funny to me because I'm like, oh my gosh, this is what I'm talking about today. Because I recognized years ago, when I was looking through things that because this industry, they've always done tiers. My industry, they've always come out, and you've probably seen this, right? Especially in the coaching space, in any entrepreneurial space, in any product space, is that you've got these three products. Like, I mean, heck, even look at Apple. You've got the iPhone 14, then you've got the iPhone 14 Plus. You've got the iPhone 14 Pro, then you've got the iPhone 14 Pro Max. Right? The only difference between those things is the size, which gives you new battery life and everything. But there's always tiers, right? And even as I was explaining how there's the iPhone with the SE, and then you've got the middle tier, which basically means nothing. The only reason the middle tier still exists, why they still sell the old iPhone from a year or 2 years ago, is you're spending more money already. So if you're considering that, it's very easy to move you to the thing that they really want to sell, which is the flagship product. It's the same with Reach Out. And it's the same with my company as far as how everything comes on. And it's like that old busted plan that doesn't do everything that is available for cybersecurity, for IT. If we could rename that and call it something bad, right? And I thought about this years ago, and this is why Reach Out has only ever had one plan, except we had that middle tier also. And I'll give you what that is, because I would walk into a client, and when you're pricing things, your products or your services, take a cue off of this, for real. Because I would walk in and I'd be like, this is what you need. I know everything that you need because I'm the expert in this industry. I understand that there's a lot to parse, a lot to just contemplate when it comes to IT, when it comes to cybersecurity, exactly what you need in your business. And you don't know, which is why I've even walked in the door and why you've invited me in here today anyways. So I'm going to present you with what I know that you need. And they would ask, well, I've had these other things, these other quotes, and they'd give me like these three tiers that I could choose from, because people like choices. They absolutely do like choices. And then I would actually leverage that and then create the choice of, well, you could pick one of those inferior plans from a competitor, or your choice could be to go with this everything plan, the Reach Out One plan that has everything that you need. And I'll gladly explain the differences to you. And then I would actually leverage competitors' choices to become that bargain basement and then actually push them into the premium that was Reach Out. That's how I would sell this. How I still sell this is position Reach Out as the iPhone 14 Pro Max, and my competitors or somebody else that, the incumbent that was outgoing, show them as that other choice, that bargain basement shit choice of a plan, because it doesn't offer everything. And that then would be the choice, rather than just looking at me and my company as a whole and saying, where are your choices? It's like I would reframe that choice and show them what the other options were from all the other people, and that would be the choice. Because I couldn't wrap my head around this. I really couldn't. And the same today, because if you're looking at the iPhone SE, you know what? It might be good for a kid. That's really it. A young kid. My kids had phones when they were 7 years old, but that's really the only thing that I could see it being good for, is that really cheap phone. But for every other adult that exists, it's like they're on installment plans. And if you want everything that it has to offer, Apple wants you on the flagship product. They put all the best stuff in there, the longest battery life, the stuff that they know that you actually need, that you actually want, they put only into the flagship product. That's the same that I've always done, because I couldn't get my head around this. In the industry, they'd have, like they used to go by like metals, right? I don't know why this industry that I'm in always used to go by like different types of metals. Like you'd have the bronze plan, the gold plan, and the platinum plan, but then you'd get some really creative people and they'd be like, oh, you know what? We're going to one up everybody, and we're also going to add a titanium plan. It's like, well, then, we want to offer this bargain basement one too. So maybe we'll add a tin, right? At the very low end. And I thought, it's like, how could I do that? Because if I'm walking in and I know the support, I know the industry, I'm the freaking expert. I know what they need. I'm going to educate them as to how this helps their business and why they need it. And I'm only offering one plan because it didn't sit well with me to go in and say, you know what? I know that this is what you need. You need the Reach Out one plan. And they'll be like, oh, it's too much money. It's I couldn't bring myself to say, oh, that's okay. If it's too much, that's fine. You know what? I'll sell you my shitty tin plan instead. I couldn't swallow that. I couldn't get into that mode to where I was okay with presenting them with this thing that I know would not meet their needs, ultimately because I know that they would be pissed, and then the finger would be pointed back at me for saying you didn't get me what I need. And then how does that conversation go? You end up losing the client. That's why I couldn't bring myself to this. So when it came to sales, and I'm like, I understand people need choices, right? Because the iPhone is the iPhone, and they don't even really place themselves as a competitor against Android. They don't at all. I'm like, you know what? I'm not even going to place myself as a competitor against myself. You never want to compete with yourself for a client's business. Because if you look and you're offering these 3 things, or these 4 plans, or these 5 plans, or these 5 products, and the one all the way down at the bottom is not something that will actually help them. That's the key. If you have different products that do different things that are different price points, and it actually helps them, meaning produces the outcome that they're looking for, then by all means, sell 5 different plans, sell 5 different products. That's cool, because it's the outcome that they're expecting and they want for those different products. But if it's just chopping off the service that you have to deliver and it doesn't provide the same outcome, you should not have multiple plans. And you should try to every year continuously build upon what you have right now by bringing new things, especially if you're in such a changing industry like I am, which, by the way, almost all industries change at a rapid pace. I mean, supplements, even down to accounting services, because there's new tax laws every year and how much time I have to be put in that. Everything changes. That's a constant, is that everything changes. And then every year you can continuously upgrade. And it's not so much about bringing in old clients and trying to get them up as it is like establishing even a baseline for new clients that you're going to bring in until it becomes a time for that existing client to renew, to repurchase, to refresh, to have another transaction with you and say, guess what? We have a lot more value to provide to you now. Yes, the price is a little more. The iPhone 14 Pro Max just came out, but here's what we're packing in this thing to give you more value. This is freaking gold today, because this is how you have to position this stuff, how you upgrade existing clients, how you sell new clients. And when you go in, I don't care if you have 5 plans, as long as they're providing an outcome, the expected outcome that you are comfortable with, that you can swallow as the person delivering that you can go home and lay your head in your pillow at night and say, you know what? That person's going to get what they paid for in a good way, because I told them that they would receive this outcome that they wanted. They matched this product, this plan to their desired outcome. In my industry, I just couldn't do that, because I can't keep people safe, predictable, and reliable by going with the shit plan. It's impossible in my industry, which is why I've only had one plan, and I take every opportunity to continuously add value to what I do and what I do best, so that they can feel safe, predictable, and reliable. And all the marketing goes along with. I hope you even picked up today as far as the sales goes, because even though people like choices, right? Like I said, I use the iPhone as an example. People like choices, right? They're still selling that cheap iPhone SE, but then they have that middle tier. That middle tier is just a psychological play to push you even higher into a flagship product. I use my competitors when I just have the one plan, the one service. I use my competitors to present that choice as creating that stupid piece of crap that they should not buy, because the outcome that they're actually looking for is what my plan delivers. You're awesome. You're going to take this and you're going to make it another 7-8 figures off of this coming year, this coming 2 years, because you're going to go all in.